to tell you, I'm pretty keen on the new Jeep Gladiator. Been waiting some time for it, and we've finally got a date for when we can get our hands on one at Unsealed 4x4, and that's later in July. So we're going to be pretty late with a full test of the Gladiator. But in the meantime, I know that there's Gladiators at Jeep dealerships, and some of our readers have already been out there and driven it. So I'm pretty keen to have a drive of the thing too. So I thought I'd head to my nearest Jeep dealer, who I've already called, and organise a test drive. So we'll get stuck into that and hopefully give you a little bit of an idea of what the Gladiator's like before we do our full test later in July. Check it out, there's the new Rubicon Gladiator, 85k. It's bloody awesome. Looks pretty good in black. It's also got the steel front bar, which is pretty good. Well, there you go, it's got a nice red treatment on the dash there. Looks very much like a normal Wrangler. Looks like there's a fair bit of space in the back of the thing here too. Let's have a look in the back. There's heaps of leg room in the back of this thing. It's quite impressive. It's got a pretty tight footwell like the Wrangler, but as you'd expect, the auto 8-speed gearbox and the 3.6 litre V6 engine. It's got the Rubicon spec rock rails or rock sliders down there. It's got the low cross member like the Wrangler. Have a look in there, a bit of that Fox goodness. Be interesting to see how this thing rides. You got the Fox shock in the back there as well, Jeep branded. Got a nice steel bar up under there, under the back. Looks cool. Standard BFG muddies on there as well. Have a quick look in here. It's got a bed liner in there. Got a light in the back there. Tie down hook here. Well, here we are in the Jeep Gladiator. First drive. Not quite official, but see how she goes. I'll get up here on the freeway in a little bit and see how she goes up there. Okay, getting onto the freeway entrance. I do like this V6 petrol engine. I know a lot of people are keen on getting a turbo diesel version of this, which you can get in the States. But strangely, for a dual cab ute, you can't get it here in Australia. Nevertheless, this is a pretty nice little engine, this one. 3.6 litre V6, 8-speed automatic transmission. And just poking along then, it seems to have plenty of go. You get a bit of tyre rumble from those BFG muddies, but you'd expect that. But it's not too bad. You know, there's a fair bit of wind noise coming around the windscreen and the mirrors. But again, you know, with a very upright windscreen, that's par for the course. I've got to say, on the highway here, the steering, you still get a little bit of bump steer like you do in a Wrangler, but I think the longer wheelbase of the Gladiator sort of takes the edge off that. Okay, we're getting out of the 80 zone up here, into the freeway section. There's no doubting that this thing's got plenty of grunt. I'd wager to say it goes a bit harder than a Ranger Raptor, but we'll find out when we get to test the two side by side later on in July. So it's pretty comfy, nice seat. It's all manual adjustment in the Rubicon spec. Fore aft, you've got height adjustment as well. As I said, all manual adjustment on the seats, but you know, nice leather trim on the seats, leather up here on the steering wheel, leather on the dash. It's very well appointed. So sitting on 100 kilometres an hour there, we've in top gear, we're probably only doing 1800 revs. So you know, anyone who's worried about fuel consumption because it's a petrol V6, the fact that it's got the 8-speed auto connected to it really helps in that fuel economy stakes. I'm really looking forward to taking one of these off-road. We won't have the opportunity today with this dealer car, but yeah, come end of July, when we get our hands on a press vehicle, we'll give it a good go off-road. Notice this thing's also got the sliding rear window to the tub, and that'd come in handy when you got longer items to throw in the car, even though the tub is pretty long. I'm going to say, over bumpy stuff, the suspension on this thing is absolutely sublime. It is so smooth. Okay, we're back on the freeway, heading back to the dealer. And I'll tell you what, that's been an interesting little sample of this vehicle. As I said, I'm looking forward to having a proper drive. But if, like me, you want to go out and drive a Jeep Gladiator, they're available at dealers now. Plenty of dealers have got vehicles in stock, and you don't have to listen to me, you can go and try it for yourself.